Hey everybody, it's Neil here from Cedarville Car Clinic. We want to welcome you to a little series of what we like to make sure that you know what you're doing on the road. So, in the olden days, people used to go to the petrol station, or shall we say the gas or diesel station these days, and people would come to your car and they'll actually check the oil level, check your tyres, have a look around the car, let you know if you needed something so you could be safe on your journey. Well, that's not taught anymore, so I'm here to show you what you can do while the gas is filling up and it's taking forever to do that, what you can kill a couple of minutes with. If you want to come over here and let me show you what you can do. Most of you know that most cars have got a few fluids under the hood, and everyone should really check their oil at least every couple of weeks, especially if you're going on a trip or you've been doing a lot of miles and you haven't opened that hood in a while. What we'd recommend is, as the engine's off and you're waiting for that engine to gas to fill up, just double check your oil. This one here is orange, but on some cars it's got a yellow top. Pull the top out, give your stick a little wipe, and then re-dip it back in. Make sure it's all the way down, and then pull it out, looking for your minimum and maximum marks, and you should have the oil hopefully somewhere in between here. If it's below there, while you're in the gas station, I recommend getting some oil, topping it up to about here. Between minimum and maximum, there's normally about 1 quart to give you an idea on how much oil you might need. If you have too much oil in here, then you may need to get a service very soon, because that can do damage to the vehicle. Other things we want you to have a look at while you're here, obviously we want to make sure that you can see as you're driving down the road, and so we want to make sure that, oh, let me just put this back. We want to make sure that our wipers are okay and they're not splitting on the ends. They should feel soft, and you shouldn't feel anything on there, any grit or dirt, so they can clear your windshield okay. While we're on the screens at the same time, your washer fluid here, while you're at the gas station, is probably the best place to top that off, because not a lot of people keep that at home, but the gas stations have always got windshield washer fluid so you can keep it topped off. These will hold about a gallon, so they can keep going for a long time, and then you can suddenly run out while you're in the middle of your trip in the desert and you can't see anything and you need to clean that windshield. So that's one thing you can do at a gas station. Other fluids that you can look at, that you don't need to look at every single time you open the hood, but just to make sure that there's fluid there. One would be your brake fluid. It's actually just make sure that you've got some fluid up here. That's knowing that your hydraulic braking system is going to work and it's not leaking anywhere. And the other one is your coolant. Now on this one you can't see it very well, but a lot of tanks come clear and you can see a minimum and maximum level. If the car is a little cooler, you can take the cap off and just make sure that you've got fluid in there. If you can see fluid, that's great, and you can measure it to your high mark and your low mark. If you're not seeing any fluid, have a little look around. You might have a leak somewhere that you don't know about. Again, you can get some antifreeze just to top it off until you can get it to your local mechanic. As long as your gauges are not overheating, you shouldn't really have a problem. These are just a few of the little things that we like you to make sure that you can see under the hood while you're getting filled up. At the same time, one of the other things that I'd recommend that we do, just check the tyres. You can turn the wheel to one side and just have a look and see roughly how much tread you've got on your tyres. And if you've got a gauge in your car, like I've got one just here, you can actually just check your tread depth gauge and make sure that your tyres are looking good. And I'm still in the green on this particular tyre. We can run round and check our sizes on all 4 tyres and make sure that everything's looking good, so we're still good for our trip there. Those are just a few things that I'd like to check when I go to the gas station and fill it up every once or twice a week, or sorry, every couple of weeks I should say, depending on how much you drive. If you're going on a long trip, I'd recommend doing all of these checks before you leave the house, but these are just a few things just to make sure you know that your car is good for a little road trip. But when you're going on a road trip, a couple of things that we at Car Clinic recommend that you probably keep with yourself for that just in case moment. If you feel your tyre is running just a little bit low, we've got one of these little gadgets, which is a little pump that can be charged up in your car lighter, and this will actually attach on here, and we can blow up our tyres with a little electric pump, and it will even tell us our tyre pressure when we got it turned on. This one's set to 15 psi, so we can turn it on, set the car tyre, and it will blow it up until we got to 15 psi. But obviously car tyres are a little higher than that. But this is a handy little gauge that we like to keep in our car. Here's a few other little things that we recommend too. You can take a tyre pressure gauge. This is a manual one, so when you put it on the tyre pressure, it reads from the valve and it will come out and tell you exactly how high the tyre pressure is. Or electronic one, you can do the same thing. It will read exactly how much psi is in the tyre just by pushing it on the end of the valve. You don't have to reset it to go from one wheel to the next. A couple of emergency things that we think you should keep with you. One, if you was to ever break down and the car can't start anymore, keep a little blanket with you so passengers can stay warm, or yourself could stay warm in the car if the heat is no longer working. Little roller rag so you can check your oil or wipe the windshield down if you've been disgraced by a truck overtaking you with a lot of dirty water and your windshield washers just can't clear it out the way. In case of an emergency and you can't get out of the car, an emergency hammer. These will shatter the windshield so you can push and get out, and at the same time has a little blade so you can cut the seatbelt as well. Very good in an accident if the seatbelt becomes stuck or you can't open that door. A flashlight if you're stuck in the dark or you're trying to look for where that little nail is in the tyre so you can point it out to the mechanic, or just looking and checking under the hood in a dark gas station, or it's just dark where you are. It's just a little safety hazard. And one of the best things ever, left your lights on somewhere or left the radio running but needs a jump start, keep a set of jump cables with yourself so you can get yourself started to get back home. These are just a few things at Car Clinic that you can check just weekly or bi-weekly, and now you can have a few safe things in the trunk just to know that you can potentially get from A to B without knowing you need anybody else except yourself.